doing in the morning as you wake up? Give yourself a nice drink. This music is called the grass growing by Syncopated Kathleen Lynch. The album is called You're outside. Think about when you're breathing in all of those vitamins that are produced by plants, sort of bacteria and viruses, and also been shown to improve our circulatory immune and welcome everyone. It's so nice to have you here, and I'm trying to go live on Substack just to see how that works as well at the same time. Something went wrong. Please check my internet. Excellent. Maybe I won't do that then. Oh, Sam's here as well. That's so nice. So welcome everyone. I'd love you. Some of you might know each other, some of you might not. So it'd be lovely if in the chat you could just say your name, where you're calling from, and something that brought you joy today. And if you're watching on the replay, you are so welcome here as well. So I think lots of you know who I am. I'm Agnes Becker. I'm an artist, science communicator, and creator of We Are Stardust. And this summer solstice gathering, oh, Kerry's here as well, wonderful, is for all you lovely folk in the Wild Enchantment Club. I'm thinking of doing a few more of these gatherings for us, maybe every season. So yeah, let's see what unfolds. I'd love your thoughts as well. So my intention for you in this, or for us all really, in this gathering is just to give us a little moment to pause during this really hectic time of year and ground ourselves into the season, take that step back and remember what life's all about. Remember that we're part of this beautiful web of life, and to see what our wildflowers could teach us as well. So I'm going to attempt to do a poll because I think they're quite interesting. I tried this in a thing I did recently. Is that the right one? Check. No. For a company, and it was really interesting to see how people felt at the beginning and the end of the session. So if you have a moment, it'll be lovely to see. Hopefully, can you see that? So then you can let me know how you feel at the beginning, and then we can check back in again at the end. And hopefully you can all see what each of you are pressing as well. So we've got Jamie from Southwest Wisconsin. The unexpected light rain has brought you joyous early morning. Oh, lovely. Yes, I would love some rain. And Fiona's here, live in a small village near Banbury in Oxfordshire, and watching the swift screech and soar above my garden brought me joyous morning. Oh, yes. I love the swifts at the moment. They're so beautiful. So we've got some feeling flowering, which is lovely, a few dormant, a few wilting. I think I'm bordering on the wilting as well, so you're not alone there. Thank you so much. I will just end that poll now. And yeah, if you're watching on the replay, it would be really useful for you to do that as well. I can put in the show notes the different categories just to check in with yourself to see what just taking this little moment to pause does for you. So I will be recording this, as you're probably aware. So if you are typing in the chat, I will read your names out. And if hopefully there's some time for us to share on the video as well, if you want to. But just be aware that's being recorded and it will be shared with everyone in the Wild Enchantment Club. So today we are honouring the longest day by deepening our connection with wildflowers and the idea of adornment as well. So together, I really hope we get to know one local wildflower just that little bit better, that you'll learn a few facts and stories about the solstice, about some of the wildflowers here in Britain. And we'll be thinking about our achievements so far this year since the winter solstice, thinking about imperfect beauty and what that means to be on this planet imperfectly. We will create a wildflower crown for the summer solstice. and enjoy, hopefully, if I have time, summer solstice inspired visualization at the end. So you'll need a pen, some paper or journal, paints, water, a wildflower that you want to get to know. Mine is the speedwell. And then about 20 long-stemmed wildflowers to make your crown. We don't need anything else. So welcome everyone. Oh, we've also got Marielle here as well from the Netherlands. Just got a new washing machine to bring you joy. Yes, thank you, washing machines. And working from home because the delivery and therefore could make this cool. Yes, brilliant. And you're outside as well, which is lovely. I tried to go outside and it was so hot. I was worried I would sort of fall asleep a bit. I thought because I'm meant to be leading this call, I better not. If I were listening, I'd probably join you out there. So as I talk about the summer solstice, you might want to start gathering your materials if you haven't done so already. Or if you have got your materials, just start really looking quite closely at your wildflower. And we're going to do a few wild journaling exercises to get us looking even more closely at the wildflower. But just take a look at how many petals has it got? What's the color like? What's the center like? I've got all these seed heads starting to form already on mine here. What are the leaves like? Where they form? Just start getting to know, start to greet your wildflower a little bit. So summer solstice is apparently associated with generosity and goodwill and a celebration of ourselves and each other. I mean, how often do we celebrate ourselves in the year? Probably not that often. It's on the 21st of June, so tomorrow, as at the time of recording, in the Northern Hemisphere at 3:42 British summertime or 2:42 Greenwich Mean Time. So very early. I'm not sure if I'll be up for that, but that is the point when the Earth is tilted closest to the sun in the Northern Hemisphere, which is a byproduct of the Earth's rotational axis also being tilted to 23.4 degrees exactly. And so at this point, we're in the Northern Hemisphere really close to the sun, but the Southern Hemisphere is further away. So they've got their winter solstice at the moment. And solstice means literally the standing of the sun. And for me, the reason I like to celebrate these moments is just a reminder that we are on a planet, this precious planet, spinning through space. The green jewel, it's sometimes called, or the pale blue dot, where life thrives, and how precious that is. And here we're at the peak of the year, a bit like the peak of the in-breath or the full moon. Summer is all about passion and love and sensuousness. There's lots of flowers around at this time of year. All of the fruits are starting to come into fruition. What else have we got? Oh, yes. There's a lot of flowers that are associated with this idea of romantic love as well, and I'll share a few of those with you. And it can also be a time of creative passion within ourselves as well. It's a fire festival because it's the sun that we're celebrating, and the fire is like a small sun on the earth, a bit like mirrors the winter solstice when we're trying to remember that the sun will return in those really dark days. But for the summer solstice, it's all about the celebration of light and the bountiful beauty that the sun brings to life. Fire is linked with creation. It's also linked with destruction. So we've got that cycle there. Fire to us represents warmth, attraction, nourishment, and protection. And it makes me think of, hi Petra, welcome. I'm just going to mute you. Yeah, it makes me think of the episode I did for the Wild Enchantment Club in December. So if you've just joined, you might want to have a little listen to that, which was all about cozy dens and this idea of Gemütlichkeit or Hygge, and our relationship with fire, and how when humans started working with fire, it gave us the ability to process food in a way that we could get much more energy out of it. So our brains got bigger. And so fire is associated with stories, with cooking and warding off danger, and it's central to the home, just as the sun is central to our planet and solar system. And we've been sun worshipping for a long time. You think of Stonehenge, It's perhaps the most famous monument to, especially here in the UK, to the solstice. And lots of people will be gathering tomorrow morning to welcome in the sun as it rises just to the left of the heel stone and shines through the stones there. And it's a time for us to look back at our journey since the winter solstice, just as the wildflower that you're holding was likely a little seed or just a few leaves with some deep roots, and look at how much it's grown and flourished since then. Um, it's also peak fullness of the year, and from now on, from tomorrow onwards, the nights will start to get shorter, and then we will begin the cycle again when we reach the winter solstice. So just remembering that things are always cycling or spiraling even. So this is a time for us to celebrate our blessings, our achievements, all we've learnt, burn what we want to leave behind as we step into the second half of the year. It's a time to celebrate our expansive, expressive selves and each other, and pass that spirit of generosity and goodwill on as well. Here in the UK, we have the Holly King, who's about to take over from the Oak King. So each solstice, there's a fight between the two in folklore. And at the moment, the Oak King is reigning. And as of tomorrow, he will hand the crown over to the Holly King. And if you look at the holly bushes at the moment, right, the tips, they have very soft green leaves coming out. So they're not spiky yet, but they're just emerging, this new growth. And then he will preside over us, give us the protection until the winter solstice, where the Oak King takes over again. And lastly, I wanted to share with you about flower crowns. So in Scandinavia, flower crowns are made for midsummer. They represent love, health, and happiness. And legend has it that flowers and herbs picked on or around the summer solstice have magical properties. So those flowers you picked for your flower crown, who knows what they might do. And later on, I'm going to invite you, as we make our flower crowns, to think of all you've achieved since the winter solstice. But let's start with looking at our wildflower. So I got you to start looking at your wildflower, and you might want to make some notes on your page or in your journal about what you can see. But I'd really also love you to start going through your other senses. So you might want to just smell your wildflower, see what it smells like. It's a lovely smell, actually, Speedwell. You might want to touch it and just feel what it's like to touch with your fingers. You can even put it on your cheeks or on your lips. Lips are very sensitive. If you feel confident tasting, if you know yours is a herb that you can taste, then do that. If you're not confident, I don't recommend it. And if you're outside, you might just want to tune into the sounds around you as well. Sometimes if you are near a meadow or something, you can hear the swishing of the grasses and the flowers in the meadow. So mine Speedwell feels quite soft. And feel free to share in the comments what comes up for you. It feels quite soft, the leaves. These little emerging seed heads there, really lovely to run your fingers down. And then there's this tiny weeny purple flower right at the end with a yellow dot in the middle. And I recently read that the yellow shows up as black for bees, so it's really easy for them to spot. And they will come and feed on that nectar. As you're looking at your plant and sharing what you can feel in your senses, I'll share a little bit with you about wildflowers. So a wildflower is an uncultivated variety of plant or flower growing freely without human intervention. I find this quite interesting as a definition. I guess it means it hasn't been bred to look a certain way or to yield lots of crops, food, but the without human intervention always makes me think of again this underlining of our separation of human and wild, when actually the wildflower meadow here in the UK anyway, I don't know about the prairies in the US, they were created by humans by chopping down woodland to create pasture for animals. So it's a kind of collaboration, the wildflower meadow, between humans, animals, and plants. So humans aren't always bad for the environment. Um, each flower in the meadow has a different role. I'm thinking particularly of meadow wildflowers, but of course you get wildflowers everywhere. There's loads on roadside verges here, which is really lovely. They grow on really scraggly soil, which is great. Um, and yeah, in the wildflower meadows in particular, there's this amazing collaboration between all of them, all different plants, in that each of them will flower at a different time to give this flow of nectar throughout the season for the insects. And then each flower itself is really specialized to different insects through their color, through the shape of the flower itself, UV, which we can't see, but lots of insects can see, their scent, their humidity, when they flower, and the electrostatic field, which I find so amazing that flowers are slightly negatively charged, and bees, as they buzz through the air, they collect static and become positively charged. And so when they become near to the flower, the pollen will jump onto their bodies. So all of this means that they're specialized for very certain insects. And I like to think of ourselves a bit like that as well, that we are all really different and we all have our own unique gifts, and they're all really valid and needed to create that diversity in the meadow or in our society. And I wonder why we love meadows so much. They're really associated with summer, um, perhaps because they're wide expanses. There's a sense of safety because we can look quite far. Or maybe it's an old remembering of when we evolved into human Homo sapiens in Africa, those big plains there. And sadly, in the UK, there's been a huge decline in wildflower meadows. We've lost 97% of our wildflower meadows since the 1930s. And that's obviously had a massive knock-on effect on insects and therefore birds and mammals which feed on those insects. But there are efforts to change this, and I'm sure all of you are part of that already, with sowing lots of little wildflowers and giving that habitat to the insects that are really struggling at the moment. There's also the idea of the corridors, wildflower meadow corridors, and roadside verges are brilliant for that because they are the corridors across our whole land, connecting lots of different places. And I think people are getting better at, certainly here in Bedfordshire, I've seen lots of the oxeye daisies all along the road verges, and they're not cutting them down. So let's see what you've noticed so far. Hi, Sam, so lovely you can join us. Sam's not far from me in Northamptonshire. Kerry's picked self-heal and it's hairy and rough. Oh, I love self-heal as well. There's so much, I need to look into it more, but there's so much in there, isn't there, in terms of medicinal herb. I wouldn't have thought it would be hairy and rough. That's interesting. And welcome Sarah Louise as well, and Petra. So yeah, share as you go along. Do share in the chat what you notice about your lovely wildflower. I'm now going to invite you to do a sketch with your wildflower using your non-dominant hand. So if you usually draw with your right hand, I'm going to invite you to draw with your left hand. And again, this is an exercise to get you really focus on the shapes you're making and the plant itself, rather than trying to draw what you think you see. And so you start to notice things that maybe you wouldn't notice otherwise if you were just if you're drawing with your right hand or your dominant hand and going with what you think you might be seeing. It's a bit like, when children draw the typical house, and it doesn't actually look like the house that you live in. It's a bit like that. So you might have an idea of what it looks like, and then when you draw it with your non-dominant hand, actually it brings out bits that you might not have noticed before. So give that a go. And once you've done that, if you want to do something else to do, whilst I chat to you about wildflowers, you might want to try a shadow drawing if you can get enough sunlight from the top down. Jenny's joined us as well. Welcome, Jenny. It's so lovely to have you here. We are just looking at our wildflowers and drawing them with our non-dominant hand. So if you have a wildflower to hand, give that a go. And that's to get you really noticing what your wildflower looks like. Fiona says, I don't know what mine's called, but there's a lot of it growing in the old stone walls of my gardens. Oh, beautiful. Has pairs of teardrop leaves and a cluster of tiny pink flowers with tiny stamens protruding from each flower. Beautiful. Sounds lovely, especially if you're growing out of stone wall. Okay, I'm going to give this a go with you, drawing with my left hand. And I will show you my drawing so you can feel okay about it not being perfect. I also like to just draw without looking at the page, but I think few of you who've worked with me before know that know that trick. So I thought I'd try something different. I love on mine. I've got these little heart-shaped, I don't know if they're showing up on the camera, little heart-shaped like seed pods kind of forming. They're so pretty. And I didn't actually realize that was speedwell because I always see speedwell in the spring because it has these little purple flowers that really stick out. But now it's quite close to the ground. But now there's so much other growth, it gets lost a bit in there. So I had to really seek it out. And that's when I realized it had these in the spring, it doesn't have these little heart-shaped seed pods. I'm guessing that's what they are. Okay, I'll show you mine so far, and then I'm going to show you a little bit more about wildflowers. So there you go, that's my attempt with my left hand. So I hope that gives you a bit of permission to have a play and see what comes up. As I say, if you've done that and you want to try something else, try shadow drawings. They're really cool as well. And also get you looking at the shape a lot more. So I wanted to share with you a few wildflowers in the UK at least that are really associated with the solstice. And it'd be interesting if you're in a different country to hear if there are particular flowers that are abundant for you at the moment. So flowers associated with the solstice are the St. John's wort, lavender, which was actually brought by the Romans, so it's not particularly native to the UK, but it's brought from the Mediterranean area. And then meadowsweet or lady's bedstraw, which in Romania in the solstice is tucked under the pillows of, it says mostly young women. I don't know why it's always young women, but anyway, to bring luck in love. So again, we've got that love coming in there. What else did I want to share with you about those? There's a lovely blog on the Faith in Nature website, which I shared in the club chat as well. But yes, St. John's wort are these beautiful star-shaped flowers, and when you pick them, it creates a red juice. And I learned that there's lots of different varieties of St. John's wort. I was trying to make myself a St. John's wort oil for solstice. Here is my attempt, but it's not right because I think I picked an ornamental St. John's wort and not the wild one, which is meant to turn red when you pick it, which is like blood and passion. And because of the association with blood, was often used to heal wounds and burns. But in modern medicinal herbology, it's used for treating milder symptoms of mild depression, and also for alleviating tension if you do it as an oil. And it was thought that gathering it on the solstice was harness the energy of the sun at its strongest. And apparently it was also thrown into solstice bonfires and hung over doorways of houses and barns. Then we've got the lovely lady's bedstraw, which smells so sweet. And yeah, it grows all over the UK on roadside verges and things, and it has these little frothy flowers, zingy yellow flowers. And it used to be used to stuff mattresses in medieval times to create a lovely scent. And at that time, they had the miasma belief that disease was carried in the air. So if you had a lovely scent, that would ward off the bad things. And it was apparently helped to use pregnant women as well, bring health to pregnant women. And then we have the lovely lavender, which is very calming. And apparently, people on Midsummer's Eve would mix lavender with other seasonal plants, mugwort, chamomile, and rose, in the belief that the aromatic blend would encourage the appearance of elves and fairies. So lots of magic in all of those plants. But the one I really wanted to share with you is the oxeye daisy. And that is one that I've been getting to know over the years. And it's what I'm going to use for the flower crown as well. It's this one here. It's quite a bigger daisy. I recently learnt it's actually a cluster of flowers. So it's lots of flowers all together. Each petal is a separate flower, and each little dot in the middle of the yellow is a separate flower. The ones in the middle are called discs, and these ones are called ray flowers. Daisy stands for day's eye, innocence, joy, and playfulness, especially the little daisies you get in the grass. And yeah, it's this composite flower made up of lots of different flowers. It's great for pollinating insects because it's so open, including butterflies, bees, and hoverflies. And to avoid self-pollination, it does a very clever thing. So it pushes up the pollen stems first. So the insects come and gather the pollen, and then they fly off to a different flower, and then it allows in the stigma, which is the part of the flower where the pollen travels down to fertilize the egg inside. So I wanted to share with you, I should have got this up earlier, a picture of the anatomy of a flower. So you might want to just have a look at your flower and see if you can find all these different bits on it. And the reason I think this is really interesting is to later in the year, if you keep an eye on your flower as it grows, develops into seed, you'll be able to see where the seed starts to form on the flower. So let me just bear with me whilst I find the picture. Hope I've got it here. There we go. Okay, I'll just share my screen. So here we've got the main bits that I would love you to look at is the stamen here that hold the pollen, and this pistil bit in the middle, which at the top has this stigma, and the pollen needs to come off the pollen stamen, go onto the stigma, and when there's one that's deemed I don't know, good enough, it will then send a little shoot right the way down this pistil to fertilize the eggs, the ovules in this ovum area there. And I just find that quite, I don't know, quite sensual. This idea of this little thing reaching all the way down. And so you might have to look, my speedwell is tiny, so you might have to look really closely to see if you can find, I can definitely see the pollen stamen. I can't see the stigma, but it's just really interesting to notice all these different bits of the plant. And usually the seed will either form just behind where the petals are here, or just in front of it here in the mid, which is the middle of the flower at the moment. So you might want to just keep an eye on your flower as it throughout the summer and see how it changes. I'd love to hear from you guys. How are you getting on with your flowers? Does anyone want to share? Come off count on the camera and share.
I can share. So
Yeah.
in our prairie and in my garden outside too, we have these plants called spiderworts, and for some reason, yeah, it's really beautiful. I don't know if they're
Amazing color.
yeah, and for some reason this year they're prolific. They're just like popping up everywhere. So 5 years ago, I had one plant of spiderwort on our, I don't know, 3 or 5 acre prairie up on top, and now they're just spotted all over the place. But it's interesting because it's got these pods, and I'm not sure that they become flowers or they're some kind of something else. I don't know that they. I'm not sure. I have to figure that out.
Yeah, if they're the buds of the flowers or if they're
Yeah. Or if
seed.
it's some kind of a seed pod. And they have this kind of grass-like leaf, but it's so
Beautiful.
beautiful right now. And it apparently means tranquility and I don't know.
Beautiful.
Anyway,
I
and
can
thank you
imagine
for that.
lots of them feeling together, being very tranquil.
And thank you that we didn't have to do this do the drawing blind because that's like really hard. It was
Oh,
better. It was
look,
easier to do it with my left hand.
beautiful.
Yeah, it turned out okay.
I will invite you all to share on the chat later as well. Would anyone else like to share what they've done? We time for one more before we head on to the next section. Yeah, Maria, you look like you might be wanting to chat.
If no one else goes, I can. So I got the clover
Oh, lovely.
flower, and I also have one hoop where also some of the leaves still attached. And I noticed, but I don't know if I can show it on camera. Probably not, because it needs very much detail. But so it's all kinds of little flower heads, but so you have like a white petal, and it's like a little white butterfly is resting on there on every small flower. So I tried to capture it.
Oh, it's so lovely. I love your drawing.
Thank you. So yeah, I have what used to be grass here in the garden, but I haven't mown it for a couple of years. So we
Very
have a
good.
big patch of clover and all other things now growing there. And I know the bees love the clover, but it's nice to really see it up close now. I mean, I've looked at it. It's known before that it's all these little flowers, but never looked this close to it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice to take some time with the flower.
Yeah, this is it. And this is the start of us getting to know them.
Yes.
And it's just the beginning. So yeah, it's really exciting. Thank
Yeah, and
you.
I mean, I think everyone knows the clover leaves, of course,
So
which
good luck.
but yeah, but I always, since the clover came here in the garden, I really love the flowers, not only for the attraction to bees, but just it's a field of white.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, with the daisy, one thing I meant to mention was that you've of course got the I love you not connotations with it, which is this again, this link to the love and the romantic love and the passion at this time of year. And it's also, yeah, known as a moonflower as well, which I love. I love that idea. And I think it's because it's still open at night time and reflects the moon's glow. So if you can't identify your wildflower, I would invite you to make up your own name for your flower. Can you give it a name? What does it represent to you? Does it have a particular character? Does it feel quite joyful? Does it feel a bit serious? Does it feel a bit shy? Does it feel playful? Have a think about your flower and why not make up your own name? And you can always look up the proper name later, but um, in the end, it's about your relationship with that plant. So before going to the books, it's always nice to see what you think. And when if those for those of you who don't know the name of your flower, let me know in the chat when you've come up with a name for it. So as we sit at this threshold of the year, let us celebrate our beautiful, expansive selves just as we are, just as we're celebrating these beautiful wildflowers, just as they are. And in the Wild Enchantment Club this month, we've been exploring the idea of adornment and decorating oneself. Yet in our Western society, the idea of the perfect aesthetic can stop us celebrating ourselves. We're made to, particularly as women, made to constantly feel as though we're not good enough, so that we buy stuff. And just a reminder of what perfectionism is. It's the belief that if we live perfect, look perfect, and act perfect, we can minimize or avoid the pain of blame, judgment, and shame. So it's other focused, basically. It's what will they think about me? And it is hard to draw that line. I don't want you to feel like, oh, I should just feel fine walking out however I look, and that's and be okay with that. It is really hard. And also, each of us will have different ways in which we want to express ourselves, be that through the clothes that we wear, be that through I don't know, the way you do your hair, or the way that we dress ourselves for certain situations, the way we adorn ourselves, and to lean into those things that bring you joy and make you feel comfortable and wonderful for you, rather than what other people will think of you. And we can take our inspiration from nature. If we look at our flowers now, I bet you can see some imperfect bits on your flowers, right? So I can see already two little holes that have been munched in the leaves of my speedwell here. I can see that on some of them, my seed pods that are coming out here, usually one on one side, one on the other, one side, one on the other. And some of them that's skipped. Some of them bits are falling off because I've poked it a little bit. It's not symmetrical at all. So let's take our inspiration from nature. Flower doesn't try to grow perfectly. It grows in close collaboration with its environment and attention to its environment and the other flowers and beings it cohabits its space with. It's this idea, isn't it, of the meadow being an ecosystem and each part having a really important role to play in that, and each part having its time to flourish and be. And Brené Brown has this definition of love as not something we give or get. It is something that we nurture and grow, a connection that can only be cultivated between, she says, two people, I say between beings, when it exists within each one of them. We can only love others as much as we love ourselves. And for me, I find myself being able to like myself, love myself much better when I'm out in nature. My daughter just the other day when we were out said, when I'm in nature, I feel magical. I was thinking, yes, that is how I want you to feel all the time. So I want you to feel magical as well. So I'd love you now to try painting with your wildflower. And then we must move on to our flower crowns. So the idea with this is you use your flower as a paintbrush, and the marks you will make will not be a perfect representation of your flower by any means. I will show you some that I've done so you can get an idea. I've kind of created more abstract patterns than tried to draw the flower itself. Just try lots of different techniques. You might try wiping it, you might try tapping it, you might try pressing it on. This was with bird's foot trefoil, which has this kind of shaped petal, which obviously came out as I was tapping it on the page. So get a colour that brings you some joy, that represents this time of year for you, maybe some golds or reds or oranges. Make a nice big lot of paint in your paint palette with your water. Dip your flower in and make some marks and see what comes up for you. I might do a little bit of purpley blue as well because that's what my flower is. And the idea here is to play and to make imperfect marks. I find when I do this, I really notice the character of the flower itself come out. So if you're thinking of your plant as being playful or being full of kind of spring or summer energy, then I feel that that comes out when you play with it on the page with your mark making. And obviously, if it's smaller flowers, you will get smaller marks. So that kind of represents its small and beautiful nature. So just have a play and see what happens when you make marks with your lovely wildflower. And if you want to, if you're doing this on a separate piece of paper, you could even cut out what you've made. And I've got a few journaling prompts for you to take with you afterwards as well. And you could maybe write something that comes up for you from this gathering today. onto your card as well, just as a reminder of the solstice as we step into the next half of the year. So have a go with that. And as you're doing that, I'm going to share with you some ideas for celebrating the summer solstice. So some ideas for you. You may want to make a little altar or nature table with some summery finds, some beautiful flowers that you've got, some seed heads, a candle, some beautiful stones, feathers. Make each of them mean something to you when you put them on that place. And you might want to, I've got like a rattan circular placemat that I put it all onto. And have that as a kind of celebration for the day. You might want to read some summery books. So with my daughter, I try to read, the summer type books, like the Bramley Hedge ones. You're familiar with those. So sweet. You might want to make art with wildflowers. We're doing that. You might want to light a candle, or we sometimes light sparklers as well all together and think of this time of year, this turning of the year. If you're a bit more hardcore than I am, you might want to stay up all night on Solstice Eve to watch the sun come up at dawn and sing the sun up or dance the sun up. You might want to practice some random kinds of acts of kindness and beauty, thinking of the generosity of the flowers. You might want to do that. My daughter recently, we were at a National Trust property and she picked lots of flowers and popped them in this little, I'll share it on the group actually, popped this in this little cherry that she'd found, and then gave it to the people who were at the desk as we left, who worked there. And they were so grateful for it. I mean, I think they were. They acted as though they were very grateful for it. But that was just a lovely little act of kindness, and it made me think of this solstice. You might want to try making St. John's wort oil, and I'll share the recipe for that. And again, that's good for, I'll put it in the group, that's good for relaxing the nervous system and anti-inflammatory properties as well. And good massage for tension. It's meant to uplift emotions and clear fears and phobias and bring a peaceful sleep. You might want to make St. John's wort tea, where you put the flowers into the cup and then just pour over some hot water. I've done that with some rose petals here. Just poured some hot water on some rose petals by my front door. Just make sure they're not near roadsides or haven't been sprayed with anything. A lavender oil, similar recipe to the St. John's wort oil, and that's for relaxation, for meditation, to ease aches and pains, for sunburn apparently, and insect bites. And you might want to go and visit an oak tree as well and just connect with its strength and courage at this time of year. So let's see, what have you made? How have you got on with making marks with your wildflowers? Probably time for one person to share, should they wish to. Oh, Sam. Oh, wow, look at that. Looks incredible. Gorgeous colour you've chosen. Should I try and unmute you?
Yeah, sorry. I've had to come in and put my phone on charge.
Yes. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I've got the what's it called? Water drop wart.
Oh, wow, I don't think I know that.
I think that's what it's called. I was trying to look it up. It's this one.
Oh,
If you can
wow.
see it.
Looks like one of the cow parsley type flowers.
Yeah. And I did do a drawing of it. Whoops. I'm trying to prop my phone up.
Oh, it's
the
lovely. Look at that. Really
drawing.
delicate. Yeah.
Yeah, I might look it up properly because I'm not sure if I did get it right, but yeah.
It's hard with those ones. I'm still learning them as well. They look so similar. And you know the one to watch out for is the hogweed one, which has purple blotches on the stems, and that's can be very bad for you.
Yeah, it's definitely not that one.
It's good to know the ones that you shouldn't touch.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thank you.
So I'm going to show you how to do the flower crowns now, and I will post in the group, in the club chat, to share your pictures because I would love to see them. And I'm sorry, we're already, this time goes so quickly. We're already at 15 minutes to go. So let's move on to our flower crowns because I really want to teach you this, and it's so simple. I was really happy when I learned how to do this. You might have done it before. So really, you need some long-stemmed wildflowers with quite sturdy stems is a good idea as well. And let me see if I can demonstrate this well. So if you take 2 of them, take your longest stem and hold it horizontally. So give me a thumbs up when you're ready. I don't want to go too fast. Great. Then you get another stem, put it in front of that one. No, I'm trying to do it backwards. Yeah. Bend it out behind. Pull it through the gap between the 2 flowers. And then fold it back in to the stem of the other one. So you create a kind of loop to loop them together. If anyone's lost, I'll do it again. So, because you basically just do this over and over again. You hold one horizontal, one in front, fold the one that's vertical behind the other one, go through the gap between the 2 flowers, fold it in front so that it joins the stem of the other one. Anyone just thinking, what on earth am I talking about? Let me know. And then you get another one, another stem. I'll do it again. And you do the same thing. I left about an inch between mine just because my flowers are quite big. So you put it in front, you bend it behind, put it between the 2 flowers, fold it in front and make it join the other stems. And you keep going like that until you have a really long chain of them. And as you're doing this, if it's not too much to think about, you might want to think about all of the things you have done, achieved since the winter solstice. So I'm thinking of things like launching the Wild Journey course, which I absolutely adored doing with some of you here and everyone who joined. And then I also think about myself. I've been taking care of myself so much better this year than I have in other years. So making sure I exercise lots, eat well. I joined a course all about balancing hormone health, so really investing in that part of my life. I've made sure I've taken off the holidays so that I'm with my family during the holiday season. My husband's a teacher, my little girl's obviously at school as well, so they both have the same holidays. So I've been trying to take time off with them. What else? I've been playing a lot with my artwork, which I've been really enjoying, making some paints for the first time, which is on my life goals list for a very long time. So that's been really joyful. So just weave all those thoughts into your flower crown as you make it. So this is what mine's looking like now. I hope you're all okay. Please say in the comments or come or speak on camera if you're like, this is getting in a right old mess. I don't know what I'm doing. Because it took me a few times. I tried with a few different plants and it took me a while to find ones that worked well. Oh, Marielle, yours looks lovely. Really nice. And then my tip would be, once we've made these, is to put them on a dish of water, like just a little bit shallow water, and put them in the fridge if you want to wear them tomorrow. Or you could even just place them on your altar tomorrow as well. Okay, so you might have got towards the end. I don't know quite how far you are. I'm thinking, how do I connect them? The only way I could figure out how to do it is just to weave it, the stems that are left, weave them through the other ones, like round and round to weave them in, like this. So just weave it round and round the other stems and tuck it in, tuck the ends into any of the woven bits that you've done before. And then you've got a flower crown. This one's a bit smaller. I'm going to give it to my daughter. Let's see, my pond's in the way. Ta-da! Let me know how you're getting on. Does anyone need any troubleshooting?
No, I cheated. I got my I made a thing from willow from my willow
lovely,
trees.
yeah.
So
That's a good
I
idea.
chose chamomile to do it, and the chamomile is not quite as nice like a daisy. It's got all these kind of crazy.
Oh yes, lots of different
So
stems.
anyway, I thought I'd just kind of make something
It looks amazing.
wild, kind of wild.
I love it. Oh, Fiona, yours looks fab.
Oh my gosh,
It
that's
probably looks
beautiful.
better on camera than it actually is. It's a lot of my, I just kind of grabbed what I had nearby, and a lot of them have kind of wilted, so I don't think it's going to last very long, but it was really fun to do, and I feel like I can go and get some more flowers now that are going to work slightly better and have another go.
Yeah, definitely. It took me a while to find ones that worked as well, because yeah, some of the like buttercups, they don't last so long and things like that. But yeah, it's really fun to make and just so good for your well-being as well to make things with your hands. Thank you so much. Kerry, yours is looking lovely as well. Beautiful colours. Really nice. And even if you just pop it on your, altar or whatever you want to call it, nature table, that's beautiful as well. So I'd love to share maybe a couple of, if you feel comfortable sharing, a couple of things that you've achieved this year in the comments. Oh, Sam, it looks so nice. It looks so good. Oh, Sarah Louise, that's so lovely. I need you all to take photos of yourself with them and then put them in the group if you feel comfortable doing that. Yeah, I'd love you to share in the chat maybe one thing that you're proud of achieving this half of the year, since last winter solstice. Oh, and open studios was another thing. Yeah, this sort of sharing with others, thinking of what I've gifted our communities. The summer solstice has been, the open studios was a really lovely thing to have done here in my village. Let's have a look at the comments. Oh, there's lots there, sorry. Oh, Jenny, goodness me, that's so beautiful. I love them. Is that the red clover? Gosh, that's stunning. You can really feel the energy of it on the page where you've made the marks with the clover. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Harry's added water mint from a pond. It smells beautiful as I'm crushing it. Lovely. Yes, Jamie, you learned to quilt. Your quilts are stunning. Yeah, that's such an amazing thing to do. Thank you. Okay, dear ones, I have got starting to journal again. Yay! After the course, I'm so pleased. Yeah, making time for yourself. I know it's really hard to gift that to ourselves, isn't it? I struggle too. So proud. That's amazing. Oh, Sarah Louise, your passion flower, gorgeous. Oh, lovely marks there as well. I'm growing a new person. That is a big achievement. So great, beautiful, thank you. Very proud of reconnecting my creative side while learning in a more scientific setting as well. Yes, that's so nice. I love that. Obviously, you know that. I love that connection. Amazing. I have a visualization that I'd love to share with you. How are you all doing for time? Do you need to head off exactly at 2 o'clock? It will be in the podcast that comes out later today as well, but I feel it'll be a really lovely way to end this time together. Give me a thumbs up if you're able to stay. Love to. Okay, great. Well, maybe I will do the visualization. If you need to head off whilst I'm doing it, then feel free to head off. Petra, you need to head off. Oh, camera isn't working. Don't worry. We can share photos in the group as well on Substack. So yeah, I'll share this visualization and then I'll do the poll at the end and we shall come to the end of our time together. It always goes far too quickly. So if you'd like to do this now, I would invite you to find somewhere comfy. You might even want to lie down. If you're outside, you might want to lie down outside if you feel comfortable doing that. If you want to switch off your camera, you're really welcome to do that, just so you can relax and not feel self-conscious, but you're welcome to keep it on as well. And as we go through this visualization, you might want to just ponder this question, which I'll put in the chat. And if you're watching on the replay, I'll put it in the comments with that go with this video. At this turning point in the year, what possibilities are opening up for you to create a better world for yourself, the earth, and the earth imperfectly? Okay, so get comfortable, take some deep breaths, and allow your mind to drift a bit like the summer breeze. I'd like you to imagine it's midsummer morning and it's still dark. You slowly get out of bed. You put on some soft, comfortable clothes that make you feel good and tended to and joyful. Maybe a lovely dress, maybe just something nice and floaty with lovely cotton or something cooling, like silk. I'd love you to imagine that you're in a beautiful cottage next to a meadow that overlooks the vast ocean. This is where you've woken up. And you might have a mug of lavender tea with you as you step out of your door in the half light and you wander up the little hill into the wildflower meadow at this pre-dawn time on the midsummer morning. And as you walk, you notice the birds beginning to wake up, singing their songs, although the sun has not risen yet. You feel the grasses as they brush past your legs, and you gently run your fingers through them, gathering seeds like you did as a child and throwing them up in the morning air. The track through the meadow smells like soft, heady, wet grass. As you reach the top of the hill overlooking the sea, you stop by an old oak in the middle of the meadow. It is in full regalia with deep green leaves and the beginnings of little acorns forming on the tips of its branches. You feel its old, strong, and courageous presence. The sky is getting lighter, and in the pre-dawn blue, the oxeye daisies in the meadow seem to glow. Absent-mindedly, you pick a few and begin to make a joyful flower crown, weaving each stem together. And as you do, you think of all you have achieved for yourself, for those around you, for the world, since the winter solstice. The breeze blows your hair across your face as you place your flower crown on your head. In the distance, on the cliff top above the ocean, you see a bonfire burning bright and smell its wood smoke on the air. Suddenly, on the horizon, the sky bursts into a riot of oranges, peaches, and yellows as the sun rises above the sea, casting her golden light on the meadow, the waking insects, the water, and warming your face. You feel her warmth, and as you do, all that is no longer serving you melts away. In the distance, you hear a skylark singing its song, and a bee hum past your ear. You watch as the sun rises above the ocean, casting glittering waves across the water's surface. You take a deep breath, and filled with contentment and gratitude, you gently put your head against the old oak's bark, against its strong tree trunk, and thank them for their presence. As you slowly begin to walk back to the cottage, flower crown adorning your head, a reminder of your beautiful, expansive, and expressive self. And as you turn around the corner in the lane, your arm brushes the soft green leaves of the holly, who will protect you as you step into the second half of the year. Take some deep breaths. And when you're ready, wiggle your fingers and toes. Slowly open your eyes. Take your time. If you'd like to, you're really welcome to either come on the camera and share what came up for you, or write in the chat, or just sit with it for a while. If you don't want to share that, that's fine too. Whereas I forgot to light my candle earlier. Might be something that came up in terms of what you've achieved this year. Might be something that came up as to what you'd like for the second half of the year. I know we're coming towards the end, but I have got some journaling prompts if you did want to go into those after the call. Fiona, for you, it's a feeling of joy and contentment and of things unfolding for the second half of the year. Lovely. Yeah, it's so good to pause and just remember all that we have. You as family, Marielle, lovely having them here with me. Yeah, that's really important to me too. Sammy, got lots of health things going on at the moment, so I hope to work on my health for the second half of the year. I feel you, it's really tough, but everything else stems from that, doesn't it? Sarah Louise, thank you so much for this pocket of calm and creativity. Felt warm sunlight and peace and hope for the next half. Oh, thank you everyone so much for being here. I'm going to pop up the second poll. And I'd love to know how you're feeling at the end of this gathering. And it's also really useful, I think, not just for me, but for you to notice that as well, how it was only 1 hour, which is really not that long. Even if it feels like it. And yeah, look at that, enriched and flowering compared to the start. It's amazing what it does, just 1 hour together. Thank you so much. I would love to hear in the chat what you're going to be doing with for the solstice, if anything. Oh, Jenny, you said to continue to create with all your heart. Oh, thank you. Yes, beautiful. Creation is what it's all about, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. I've been really looking forward to connecting with you all like this, and yeah, really appreciate your presence here today. And wishing you a really beautiful solstice. I hope you can take a moment at least tomorrow to acknowledge the turning of the year. And yeah, do share what came up for you and your flower crowns in the group. Yeah, and we'll gather again soon, I'm sure. Take care, everybody. Have a lovely rest of your day.